Welcome back. We're here with 1444, and this year, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Okay, so in the last one, Thomas and Odelgard tried to get engaged, but of course it blew up in their faces when everyone found out that, it meant that they wouldn't be continuing the legacy, and they ended up having to decide to cool off their relationship and just try to work together. So that's what happened in the last one. In this one, we are going to have Philomena Zest. I'm thinking maybe she'll marry Bard. There was only like one option really. Um, so I think she'll have someone that she remarried. I don't know. It's tough when I don't have enough Sims and I don't want to add more. So let's roll for everybody. So Randolph Landgrab, who was born at the end of the last one, can't get an 18 or a 20. He survived. Malcolm will be very happy. Also, his two older daughters that can't get a 4, 8, or a 12. Both are okay. Only one of them is surviving. So I'm sorry, Mathilda, but you are not surviving. But Martine is. We have so many teenagers, which is great for marriage situations. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Ooh, and number 4 is the other land grab. They can't get a 7. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, number 3. Oh, number 4. Oh, I don't know why I rolled that another time. Oh my gosh. Number 3 and number 4. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so Maurice Payne. Oh my gosh, Benedict Landgrab died. That means that our Landgrab child is the only male Landgrab. It is really good that we remarried him in that case. Okay, so now we have 1, 2, 3 of them. Are they going to get married? 1. Yes, but no children. Yes, and 10 children. Is that a no? Come on. 1 through 4 is a no. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Mirabelle, Axtell. It's always girls. Who is a no? And then who's next? Please be a boy. Frost is having 10 babies, you guys. Oh my gosh, this is so good. The Payne family was in danger, but they're okay now. Oh my god, 10 kids. Can you believe it? And then it's a no for Thomasina. Oh. Okay, now we have 2 young adults. No, 2, 6, 11, 13, 14. Oof. Goodbye. Wait, Philomena. Okay, well, I guess she's not getting married. Oh gosh. Okay, Thomas. I feel like I can't breathe. My stomach hurts. Oh my gosh, I can't even look. We have to plead for him. We have to try and plead for him. We have to. Oh my god, I can't even believe it. After all of that, and then he's gonna die. I don't want him to. What do I do? I don't want him to. Oh my gosh. We have to do something. I didn't think he was gonna die. I have plans for him. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You guys, I cannot. My brain just turned off. Okay. Okay. We're gonna try and plead for him. Oh my gosh. I'm like so anxious right now. You guys can't get 10 or lower than 10s. You died and you survived. But for how long? I'm in a state of shock. I'm in a state of shock. Pascal just died. Oh my gosh. We have to figure something out. I can't even type. Look at me. I'm falling apart. Um Okay, I'm gonna think. I'm gonna have a think. Maybe we will do Vitality Nectar again. I don't know. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Okay, we gotta think about it. I gotta think about it. Okay. I think that's everything. Let's hop into the game. Okay, that was only a second for you, but it was a long time for me. So what I did was I came up with 3 different routes that we could take depending on how this goes. in order to either get Thomas back or have to accept that he's dead. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just kill him right away, because otherwise we're going to spend the rest of the episode trying to figure out a way to fix this, is that we are going to kill him right away and see if we can plead with the Grim Reaper in order to save him. So let's just say he had some kind of condition that, we didn't know about, like an aneurysm or something. I don't really know if that happens to young people, but it could. So here he is. I'm looking for Grim, who is taking forever, and I was worried that I was just going to have to reset him. So I made a plan for if it works to plead, if it doesn't. If it doesn't, maybe we can spin a story about the Vitality Nectar again. And but we said we'd roll for it, and then if that roll fails, then I really will have to move on to Genevieve. Like, there will be no choice. The game has decided twice that Thomas, or 3 times that Thomas has to die. Honestly, I was so unprepared for this. I just didn't think that it was going to happen. I didn't think that this was a possibility, and it was. So let's have Elder Thomas plead to Grim, like, look, my son is living his life. He's going to demand Grim spare him. And, him and Grim know each other because he had died previously, and Grim accepts. So he does. The pleading works. Oh my gosh. It was so, you have no idea the stress that I felt because of this situation. I was so stressed. I was trying to come up with all sorts of stories. Like, I already had the idea of what I wanted all of the storylines to be, and this would have ruined everything. It would have totally ruined everything. So, that's where we're at. Whew, it was tough. It was scary. And he did end up surviving, which is really great. I'm very, very thankful that he was able to survive. So, all that to say that I was stressed over nothing, basically, is what ended up happening. So, let's keep going. Even though him and Odelgard decided to cool off their romantic relationship, like, still, they're close with each other, and so they're doing a little something here. They're doing a little something here. So even though they were trying to cool off their relationship, obviously they still care for each other a lot, and obviously she would come to him and be like, "Oh my gosh, like, are you okay?" So we are going to they were a little flirty there, but they're trying not to, like, it's one of those things where he had a near-death experience, so of course he wants to fall back on her and loving her and all that stuff. So, but they're trying to resist. That's what's going on. And I think that just because Odelgard is mischievous doesn't necessarily mean she's a bad person. So I want us to keep that in mind. But I think that, maybe we'll see. I am going to try to do her aspiration with her. So we're going to see where that goes. But anyway, so Thomas survived. I did not have to find a way to get the Vitality Nectar from Malcolm, who was the one who had confiscated it from Cassian. And probably we would have had to, like, give Malcolm something that he wanted. And it's just like, I don't even know. We would have had to come up with an idea. And then we still could have rolled to fail. So anyway, Thomas is here, and Genevieve is going to, obviously find out what happened because she's very close with her brother and her parents. Even though him and Genevieve have been having a hard time lately, and even though they have been kind of at odds over his relationship status, still, like, they're best friends, and they're so close. And of course, she came right over when she heard that he almost died, and she can relate too. Remember, she died briefly, so she can really relate to what he's going through and the feelings that he's feeling because of that. So that is a lot. It's a lot. Everything's a lot. Anyway, we're going to keep having everyone work on their stuff. Just because Thomas died doesn't mean that things don't keep moving. Honestly, though, I'm thinking that maybe this farm is too big because Odelgard literally spends all day harvesting from it, and we still don't even get everything. Like, and our gardener is not getting everything for some reason either. So I don't know what's up with that. Like, our gardener is supposed to do all this weeding and stuff. So anyway. So we're going to have a birthday party for Thomas tomorrow. I know the spreadsheet says his birthday is the day after, but I don't want to do that because it looks like in the sim panel that it thinks his birthday is tomorrow. So I don't want him to age up without a birthday cake. So we're just going to do his birthday tomorrow. It doesn't really matter. Nothing changes on the spreadsheet. So that is totally fine. And I'm going to have Odelgard give them some stuff. Honestly, I think that once we fill up the the basement. We're not going to be, trying super hard to make a lot of nectar all the time. But anyway, also, what I was trying to say earlier, but everything's happening so quickly, is that yes, Elder Thomas does know Grimm a bit from his time deceased, and so they were, he probably had a better chance because he knew Grimm already, and Grimm probably doesn't like him very much though, because he escaped death, and like literally 3 out of the 4 members of his family escaped death. So there's that. But yeah, I think that maybe him and Grimm have a little like deal or something. So we'll maybe come back to that, maybe not, I'm not sure. But anyway, we are just having Odelgard practice our mischief here. I did want to figure that out, and then also I looked up finally how to turn off emotional deaths, so there's that. And we are going to have everyone go there. Odelgard has to use the computer 3 times to create mischief, but she has to get to level 4 mischief for that to work, because even though it says in the thing that trolling the forums is an option, it's kind of not, because it's a task that never completes, and so since it never completes, it never checks off one of the 3 options there. So we're just going to send some chain letters when she gets to level 4, and we'll let her get to level 3 here like this. So yes. It's a lot. Let's publish this book. Thomas is also having some trouble making bestsellers. I think that that's interesting. I thought that it would be a little easier. I might give him one of the reward traits to help him improve his odds of making a bestseller. And then again, Odelgard just harvesting all the time. So let's make a birthday cake for Thomas. Whew. When I tell you that I had so many plans that I had to create to figure out how this year was going to go, and then it was fine in the first 5 minutes. Oh my gosh, and then I was like, okay, well, if it does move to Genevieve, I don't want her to live in that house. Like, maybe Malcolm would divorce her because she's done having children with him. And oh my gosh, I just had so much stuff that I was thinking of and trying to figure out. But we're okay. We're okay. And all my plans for Thomas and his life are still a go. Everything's fine. So we're going to have the birthday party, and yes, stop trying to go to school. Stop it. Hey, stop it. Come back. Okay. So the party actually goes by a lot quicker than I thought it would. Like, I'm trying to get the things done in the task list there, and it's like, oh, the party's over. But anyway, let's get everyone inside. So what we're going to have, Odelgard is still doing her chores outside. I think that maybe she's trying to distance herself a little bit from the family proper just because of everything that had happened. And she doesn't really want to run into Genevieve either. So Genevieve actually is going to bring over El Rosaria with her. I know you knew where this was going, but I don't care if I'm predictable. So Genevieve brings El Rosaria over. So El Rosaria is actually Malcolm's step-granddaughter, which is kind of confusing, but she's the step-granddaughter. And so and Thomas's childhood friend, one of his childhood friends. See, it says the party's almost over, so I was like, go blow out your candles really quick. But yes, so she's one of his childhood friends, if you remember, from back when he was doing childhood aspirations and stuff. So we're doing that, and then so everyone is coming in here to have cake. But yes, so basically Genevieve brings her and is like, oh, hey, like, you know, do you remember El Rosaria? Like, you knew each other as kids. Like, I remember her being around a lot. And Thomas is like, oh, yeah, like, a long time no see, all that kind of stuff with someone who you haven't been around in a while. So that is all good. So, we are feeling good with that. And we are just going to have them catch up a bit, so that'll be nice if they can, talk with each other. And of course, Genevieve is there, kind of, pushing them together, kind of hinting at it. But Thomas hasn't really caught on yet. He's like, "Oh my gosh, like, hey, how are you? What's going on? How's your life?" Like, and she's like, "Yeah, both my parents are dead. I'm like, I'm living with my stepmom, blah blah blah." And he's like, "Oh wow." So, yes, they are just having that conversation with each other. Nazetta Landgrab, one of Malcolm's first children, is her stepmother, actually. So they're just all chatting and kind of re-getting to know each other now that they're older. and all of that. You can see that she is, of course, a wealthy lady. She's from the Payne household. They're a wealthy family, and she obviously would have a good dowry and everything. So we're to say that. And he is just chatting her up. Like, I don't think he realizes what Genevieve is trying to do yet, but he's excited to see one of his old friends, and they're just hanging out, the good times. Oh, look, a nice sentiment. So, anyway, they are going to end up spending most of the party just reconnecting, and look at all the sentiments they're getting towards each other, which is actually really interesting because, as it turns out, they have bad compatibility, which, I mean, I felt like with Odelgard, it just like everything shot up so quickly, but with El Rosaria, they don't really, know each other as well. They're just kind of, getting to know each other again and all of that. So it's really interesting. So now that the party's over and everyone is left, Genevieve is kind of trying to feel out whether or not Thomas, like what he thought of El Rosaria, and he's like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Come on, Thomas." Um, so she is just chatting with him, and um, she is just letting him know that she thinks, her and Malcolm think that El Rosaria would do well with him as his wife, and they get along well. They're already friends. Like, it could be a pretty good match for him. And so he's like, "Oh, I'll think about it." Obviously, he feels like it's very soon, but Genevieve basically tells him, like, "Look, Thomas, you almost died. Like, if you really are serious about, keeping this family going and everything, you have to get married soon. You could even go to war next year." So, it's something for him to think about. Meanwhile, Genevieve and Odelgard don't miss the opportunity to, get into it with each other, to argue with each other. So there is that, and everyone is going to go back to their stuff, and everyone is going to be working on their aspirations except for the parents. Now, honestly, I'm kind of thinking, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with Thomas and Adelaide? Like, they're both, I don't know. I just feel like we haven't been doing much with them lately, so I have to think about that in the future. Um, we'll think about that. They're just, smashing fruits all day, every day. So we are going to have him again do his horse stuff because that is what he does. Also, why is that one child just hanging out outside our house? And we are going to decline that, and we are going to X out of that. That actually was her dad. I feel like she probably should have talked to him. Poor, was it Galileo? Is probably like, my daughter has left, and I have never seen her again. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is, because I don't know if it's the Regency Romance or the Royalty mod, but there is an event called a Chaperoned Date. So we are going to have a Chaperoned Date with El Rosaria and Thomas. Genevieve is going to be their chaperone. So there's that, which is really weird to say that Genevieve is her step grandma. That's kind of strange. But anyway, we are going to have them have their chaperoned date here. Of course, I have not downloaded any other venues, so we had to come here. And then time like rewound itself, which was very confusing. But anyway, we are going to have them flirt with each other, so you can see joke, flirt, and of course, because she is a proper lady, they will not be really making physical contact at all. So we're just going to do some flirting, and um, we'll just keep going with that. We'll have deep conversations with her. And so basically, they're just going to be like, "Oh, it was so good to see you the other day. Like, I'm sure that you've heard that our families are thinking about a match." And so um, she is like, "Yeah, I heard." And she said, I remember us really getting along well. And um, I hope that we can, see where this goes. So he's going to give her a flower, and we're just going to see if, I mean, things are going pretty well despite their bad compatibility, and they have good sentiments. So the date is over. But neither of them really seems, averse to the idea. And so Thomas is just going to get back from the date, and Odelgard is going to kind of come up to him and be like, "Oh, where were you?" And he was like, "Oh, I was out on a date, actually, with a potential, arranged marriage situation. And so, of course, that's hard for Odelgard to hear. And Thomas, and, they're both very flirty towards each other. And if I just don't control them, they automatically go to being flirty and stuff with each other. So um, I'm not having them do that, but they are willing to do that on their own. Also, maybe I'll have her play some pranks on him because that's part of her aspiration. But anyway, so it's really hard for them to talk about this, but and our horse aged up into an elder. But yeah, so he's basically like, you know, we decided that we weren't going to do this. And she's like, I know, I know, I know. And so they're trying really hard to, not be into each other, even though they are so into each other, if you know what I mean. Like, they're trying not to, but they just keep falling into like old patterns, old, you know, feelings. And even though they keep doing that thing where it's like, are you guys gonna woohoo again? Oh my gosh, they just did that autonomously. That was not me. Okay, so they're just falling back into old patterns. She does not get pregnant again. Actually, the game, she does get pregnant. I keep forgetting to make it so that she can't have babies. But yeah, so she's not going to have a baby right now. But yeah, so basically the two of them are just like, they keep falling in with each other. Like, and then afterwards they're both looking at each other like, oh, um, we weren't supposed to do that. And Thomas is like, well, have you changed your mind about what we should do? And she's like, no, no, like, you had a near death experience, you're freaking out, I'm freaking out, we're all freaking out, and it was just a mistake. It wasn't what we were supposed to do, and that wasn't they kind of keep telling each other like, oh, that was a mistake, that wasn't, we're not doing this, we're not getting back together, we're not going to try this, we already decided, but then they keep coming back together. So anyway, Odelgard basically tells him like, it's not going to happen. We already decided, it's over. Like, you should marry her. So Thomas, is like, okay, well. So the families all meet, and since Thomas and El Rosaria have gotten along really well, um, he's basically going to tell his parents that he is willing to marry her, and, have this arrangement be made. And so the same for Nazetta is going to come over, even though she just disappeared, and be El Rosaria's chaperone, guardian person, and basically be making this arrangement with El Rosaria's. With Thomas's parents and his family. So the families are making arrangements together, and I'm trying to get their romance up enough so that he can propose to her the natural way. Because I don't want to click enter a marriage of convenience. I don't know. So we're just going to do this, and we'll have them continue to flirt and continue to, everyone's planning, everyone's making plans. And he's like, I go off to war next year, and or potentially. And so they're talking about everything that could go on, and if you wanted to postpone. And she's like, no, I don't want to postpone. I mean, keep in mind that she's in this house with her brother who had just become old enough to um, take over the Payne household, and then her stepmother and her stepmother's child, and it's just like, or like, I guess her half sibling or something. But anyway, maybe not her half sibling, maybe her step sibling, I don't know. But anyway, so she is like ready to become a lady of a house and have her own life and have her own family and her own money and her own everything. She doesn't want to be like the step kid, the little sister anymore. She wants to be the lady of the house. She wants to host parties and teach her children how to be, strong and capable young gentlemen and ladies. Like, she wants that for herself, to start that. So that's what's going on there. And we are going to just have them have the engagement, and then we'll be in a good place. And tomorrow is 12th night, so we'll just really quickly celebrate that, and then we'll head out to kill like a million people and all that stuff. But yeah, so they're engaged now. I did want to quickly, so if Thomas gets drafted next year, we're going to just quickly have the wedding and get her pregnant before we leave, just in case Thomas dies at war, because that would be my luck, right? Like, there were a few years there of which I was like, oh my gosh, no one's dying, nothing's happening, and then everybody dies at once. Like, come on, don't do this to me. Let me, hold on, I got so much stuff on my desk. Okay, Okay. So this is just everyone doing their thing, taking care of their chores, and we'll make a grand meal for 12th night in a few sim hours. He finally is able to create a masterpiece book, but it's a bestseller. But it's not the genre that we've been going with. I wonder if poetry is like a hard genre to get a bestseller in. Anyway, so Odelgard is going to come talk to Thomas and um, basically be like, oh, I heard that you were engaged now. And he's like, yeah, how do you feel about that? And she's like, well, we both have to live our lives and we both have to move on, but we'll still be really close. And he's like, yeah, of course we will. And so, we're going to keep working together with the business, and I hope that you will also find happiness and love. And so they're just talking about that. And we are going to continue to fill up the cellar as time goes on, and we are just having Thomas and Adelaide just always grinding away while we are doing storytelling with everyone else. I mean, they got to be a part of the negotiations for the wedding, and they got to be a part of the storyline a little bit as the overprotective parents. But I think that they'll be happy to see a new lady in the house, and someone for Thomas to marry. I know that El Rosaria also rolled not to have children, but I'm not going to give her fertility problems because she's going to be our legal wife, and as you know, in the main household we get to have as many babies as we want outside of the side household rules. So there is that. However, um, we are still going to keep rolling for Odelgard if they ever keep woohooing, which they probably will, because this is just going to be, I can't keep them from doing it. So I cannot keep them from woohooing. They keep doing it autonomously, but that could be a really interesting thing too. Is El Rosaria going to find out about their relationship? Is she going to, are they going to start a full blown affair? Is she going to be his mistress? What is El Rosaria going to think about all that? There are these opportunities here depending on, I guess, the autonomy of the Sims and my whims at any given moment, because I just can't help myself. It's a curse, really. I'm like, oh, everything's going well. Let's ruin their lives. So anyway, I mean, oh my gosh, and what if Odelgard did have a baby? Oh my gosh. Okay. We can see what happens down the road, but I don't try to hide things from you guys. Like sometimes I try to hide things for a video, but I like chatting about some of my ideas, what could happen, what might happen, and get your feedback, or do you have something cool in mind that you think would be better or anything like that, I like kind of collaborating on the story too, because I mean, I feel like I'm very basic anyway. I like reading those comics or watching those dramas where I'm like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what's going to happen, but I still love it. I eat it up. So you'll have to let me know what you think. I can keep more secrets about my plans for you, but I'm just kind of rambling during these voiceovers anyway. But yeah, so they're all celebrating 12th night. Odelgard hasn't finished her chores, which is kind of sad, but then she finally came over. So yeah, in this part, what happened? So we did kill a few people. We killed Mathilda Landgrab, Maurice Payne. So now there's still only one Payne guy, which is just wild to me that there's always just one Payne son surviving no matter how many children they end up having. Benedict Landgrab died, so now Genevieve's son is the only Landgrab heir right now. And honestly, Malcolm's going to die in a couple of years, so I really don't think he's going to get remarried again. So I don't know what's going to happen to Landgrab name. We'll have to see. Philomena Zest died, which is sad because she's wonderful. Pascal Devereaux died, which he was Charles's kid, so it's been a while. And then Thomas did roll to die, but we saved him by pleading. That was awesome. Okay, so anyway, I hope that you're excited. I don't really remember what's going on in the next one, but I'm sure it'll be stress-inducing for me. So I'll catch you in the next one.